I believe in America. America has made my fortune.
The price of the American dream. I believe in America. That's the first line you hear in The Godfather, but it's not a patriotic salute. It's a plea for justice from a man who's been failed by every legal system this country has. The Godfather is not just a crime film. It is a more than 3-hour, devastating lesson on power. How it's acquired, how it corrupts, and the impossible price of keeping it. Our focus today is the ultimate transformation. The tragic passing of the torch from Vito Corleone, the dawn of respect, to his son, Michael Corleone, the dawn of control. It's a generational shift from old world wisdom to new world ruthless efficiency, and it costs Michael everything. The wedding scene, the foundation of power. The film begins in the dark, intimate office of Don Vito Corleone, while the sounds of his daughter's bright wedding celebration are deliberately muffled outside. This immediate contrast sets the stage. Legitimate appearances mask a powerful shadow operation. Our first insight into Vito's power comes from Amerigo Bonacera, the Undertaker. Bonacera, an honest middle-class immigrant, has been failed by the legitimate legal system. The criminals who brutalized his daughter walked free with a suspended sentence. This is the critical moment. It establishes the Corleone family as a parallel government, a necessary evil that provides justice when the state fails the marginalized. Notice the word he doesn't mention, money. When Bonacera offers cash, Vito is offended. He doesn't want money, which is disposable and temporary. He demands respect and friendship. This introduces the concept of Vito's soft power, influence earned through reputation and reciprocal obligation. The currency of Vito's empire is debt. By granting this justice for free, he places Bonacera in a position of eternal, unspoken obligation.
And that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day, accept this justice as a gift on my daughter's wedding day.
That single line is the bedrock of his power. It's not a contract, it's a blank check of loyalty. That debt is infinitely more valuable than any sum of money because it can be cashed in for any service, no questions asked, at the moment the family needs it most. This system of favors secures his network and ensures the Corleones always have allies in unexpected places. Vito's power, the old world code. Vito Corleone understood a fundamental truth about power. If it isn't stable, it won't last. His decisions weren't just about crime, they were about organizational management. His entire philosophy is summed up in his famous maxim.
You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good. Because a man that doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. Come here.
A man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. This line reinforces that power is tethered to patriarchy and family stability. The blood family is the sacred center, and the crime business exists only to serve and protect it. This emphasis on tradition gives the Corleones a moral code, however twisted, that the other families lack. The moment Vito rejects the drug trade is the most pivotal strategic decision of his life. He isn't rejecting it out of moral purity, but out of strategic wisdom. He correctly identifies drugs as politically dangerous, too volatile, too easy for the government to use as an excuse to destroy the mafia's carefully built structure. Vito prioritizes long-term security and control over the quick, chaotic profit of narcotics. This is the old world code. Limit your exposure, manage your risks, and remain measured. This restraint, however, is exactly what the new greed-fueled world will refuse to tolerate. The attack and the flaw. The obsolete code. Vito's belief in diplomacy and calculated limits proves to be his ultimate vulnerability. His soft power, his reliance on mutual respect and negotiation, is no match for the ruthless, purely transactional logic of Virgil the Turk, Sollozzo. The attempted murder outside the fruit stand proves the old world code is obsolete. When Vito refuses the deal, Sollozzo immediately opts for the most brutal form of power: unfettered violence. There are no negotiations, no warnings, just a bullet. This act is a declaration of war on Vito's entire system. It shows that in the modern greedy world of post-war America, strategic restraint is seen not as wisdom, but as a weakness to be exploited. The Don, who believed he could control the chaos through reason, is left bleeding on the street. His system failed, and the family is thrown into disarray. The era of respect and diplomacy is violently over, clearing the stage for a new kind of Don who understands only survival and absolute control. The sons who failed. The necessity of Michael. With Vito incapacitated, the family's future rests briefly on the shoulders of his two sons already in the business, and both prove tragically unfit for leadership, thereby making Michael's rise a necessary intervention. Sonny has the power and the fire, but he lacks discipline. He's impulsive, hot-headed, and utterly predictable, traits that are fatal in this world. His relentless emotional pursuit of revenge for his father's shooting makes him easy to bait and leads directly to his ambush and brutal death. Power cannot be ruled by emotion. Fredo, meanwhile, is ruled by crippling insecurity and lack of courage. His pathetic failure to protect his father at the hospital proves he is too weak, too incompetent, and too reliant on his family name. He is unfit for power, a truth that will later drive him to the ultimate betrayal. The failures of Sonny and Fredo leave a critical, bloody vacuum. The one son Vito tried hardest to keep out of the business, the decorated war hero, Michael, is revealed to be the only one with a key quality required for this new era of power: cold, rational, detached discipline. It is his destiny to save the family, but only by sacrificing his soul. The transformation, Michael Corleone and the cold logic of control. The entry into darkness, the broken jaw. The moment Michael, the decorated war hero, makes the decision to join the family business is the definitive turning point of the film, and it is entirely motivated by the failure of legitimate power to protect his father. Michael's first act is protective, but it quickly turns violent. When he confronts Captain McCluskey, the corrupt police officer breaks Michael's jaw. This injury is a visual baptism. He is literally brought into the violent world of the mafia by the hands of the state. He realizes the institutions he once served are just as compromised as the criminals. The legitimate world cannot protect his family. Michael's desire is not vengeance like Sonny's, it is strategy. He proposes killing both Sollozzo and McCluskey, thereby removing the threat and proving to the other families that the Corleones are not weak. Michael's first kill is executed with icy detachment. He doesn't rush. He is mechanical, disciplined, and totally focused. This signals the arrival of the new power. Unlike the impulsive Sonny or the diplomatic Vito, Michael operates on cold, rational, military-style discipline. He has divorced emotion from action, a trait necessary to survive the modern mob war. This single act shatters the last remaining piece of his former legitimate life: isolation and the Sicilian interlude. Michael is sent to Sicily to hide and allow the dust of the mob war to settle. This interlude, marked by the breathtaking landscape and his marriage to Apollonia, is the final, desperate attempt to reclaim a life of innocence. In Sicily, Michael is not the Don. He is simply Michel. But this illusion of escape is fragile. Power, once claimed, makes one a perpetual target. The violence he tried to leave behind follows him across the ocean. The bombing that kills his wife, Apollonia, shatters any remaining hope for a peaceful life. This moment confirms the devastating cost of being a Corleone. To protect the family, he must fully embrace the power that makes his family a target. The murder seals his fate, forcing him to return to America not as a refugee, but as the heir apparent with a mandate for absolute control. Consolidation. The dawn of absolute control. Michael returns to New York, and the transition from sun to dawn begins immediately. Vito had slowly built his power through decades of favors. Michael will seize his power through swift, calculated reorganization. The most telling act of Michael's takeover is his subtle but firm exile of Tom Hagen from the inner circle. Hagen is family and the consigliere, but he is a Wop, not a Sicilian. More importantly, he represents Vito's old style of mediation and diplomacy. Michael needs a new leadership model, ruthless efficiency, and centralized control. Michael marries Kay, promising her that he will make the family legitimate within 5 years. This promise reveals his ultimate goal: to transition the family's influence from the criminal sphere to the respectable world of high-level business and politics. But the tragedy is that achieving this goal will require him to become more criminal, not less, as he must eliminate all opposition first. Michael now dictates he doesn't negotiate. He has taken the first step in replacing the old world code of respect and friendship with the new world code of control and fear. He now controls the strings, and he's ready to pull them. The coronation and the isolation. The baptism and the purge. Absolute power. Michael's rise to power culminates in a single, masterful sequence that is the emotional and thematic climax of the film, the Baptism Montage. It is the moment he achieves absolute control by simultaneously embracing his role as a spiritual father and acting as a grim reaper. The visual juxtaposition is the key to analyzing Michael's power. As he stands in the church renouncing Satan, his men are systematically carrying out his perfectly orchestrated revenge. He rejects the devil while performing his most diabolical acts, the assassinations of the heads of the 5 families, Barzini, Tattaglia, Cuneo, Strachey, and the traitor within, Tessio. Michael's power here is a form of hyper-rational control. He has not just won the mob war, he has wiped the slate clean. Unlike Vito, who sought balance and peace, Michael seeks total, unchallenged dominion. He is a general wiping out an entire command structure in one swift, surgical strike. He has surpassed his father's strategic genius through a level of ruthlessness Vito never permitted. The elimination of his own brother-in-law, Carlo, is the final, chilling confirmation of his transformation. Carlo's death is not about revenge for Sonny. It's about discipline. Michael uses Carlo's weakness as a tool to expose and eliminate the real traitor, Tessio, and to test the loyalty of his wife's family. He sacrifices familial mercy for organizational necessity, a move Vito would have struggled to make. When Michael delivering the line to Carlo, "Don't tell me that you're innocent, because it insults my intelligence and it makes me very angry." This line defines Michael's new dawn ship. His power is now so absolute that he demands not just obedience, but intellectual submission. The refusal to admit guilt is seen as a greater sin than the betrayal itself. The final cost. The closing door. Michael has won. The Corleone family is the most powerful criminal enterprise in the country, but the victory is paid for not in money, but in the permanent isolation of his soul. The final scene with Kay is the film's tragic conclusion. She asks him directly if he ordered Carlo's murder. Michael lies to her. No. This lie is the final act that seals his separation from the legitimate world he promised to join. Kay momentarily believes him, a desperate act of faith, but then she watches his men enter one by one to pay their respect and call him Don Corleone. She watches Alneri close the door on her. The closing door is the film's ultimate visual metaphor for power. Michael is now the Godfather, utterly powerful, but also utterly alone and isolated. That door doesn't just shut Kay out of his office, it shuts her out of his world. locking him into a life of shadows, lies, and perpetual control. He achieved the American dream of total command, but he lost his heart, his humanity, and the true meaning of family in the process. The tragedy of The Godfather is that Michael Corleone became the most powerful man in America by systematically destroying everything he once was. He proved that the new form of power is cold, disciplined, and total, but in doing so, he showed us that power at its absolute peak is a corrupting force that always demands your soul as payment. The tragedy of The Godfather is that Michael Corleone became the most powerful man in America by systematically destroying everything he once was. But now I want to hear from you. If Vito's power was built on respect and Michael's on control, which Don do you think had the more sustainable form of power? Team Vito or Team Michael, and why? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like this video and subscribe for more cinematic breakdowns. Thanks for watching.